Flags going strong both in Ipswich and in Canberra, which is great. Of course, there's always got to be one. And that's the good thing about the campaign. There aren't that many left. Our research indicates that strong opposition to marriage equality is actually down to 14%. So when we go to rallies around the country, we do find one chap, maybe a couple, usually older. There was one in Adelaide. There was a husband and wife, I assume, and they were staying there with the black and white postcards because, posters, because I guess everything back in their day was monochrome. But of course, we're talking about diversity, we're talking about acceptance and inclusion, and of course, we're talking about rainbows. One of the most remarkable things about our campaign is how much love and respect and inclusion and acceptance there is. Most of the meetings that I have in Parliament House ends with a hug. I actually hugged Ricky Muir the other day. Had such a lovely meeting with him, and I said to him, mate, we can't end this with a handshake, I'm going to give you a hug. And he actually grabbed me. He grabbed me for a hug. And it's an interesting evolution. Ricky Muir is a perfect example. Someone who had opposition to marriage equality, but worse than that, kind of like that, opposition to gay people. And that's what drives the strongest opposition to marriage equality. It's just prejudice and discrimination against our LGBTI people. But Ricky Muir, with a pretty stern look from his wife, realised that he'd just been not thinking about his opposition to LGBTI people, and he really needed to reflect on that. And that was in the news recently, this week. But there's been other things that's been in the news as well. For example, European nations are actually ganging up on Australia and saying, hey, marriage equality, do you want to fix that? Might be a good idea. We have a joint committee in human rights in the Parliament House table a report on marriage equality and the human rights that are implied in marriage equality. And they said in every case, in every human right that is preserved by the Human Rights Declaration, marriage equality promotes human rights. And that's an amazing thing. That happened in Parliament House this week. The coolest thing about that is the person who chairs this joint committee is none other than Philip Ruddock. You remember him? He was the Attorney General at the time that John Howard passed the marriage amendment bill. So he's the man that passed it through. And now he's the man that's chairing a committee that realises that marriage equality promotes human rights. It's an amazing time to be part of this campaign. We've got a new Prime Minister. It's pretty exciting. I mean, he's not agreeing, take it. In time. But it's changed things dramatically. Everyone at Parliament House says the new Prime Minister has actually changed the feeling on the Hill about a whole heap of issues, but marriage equality is one of them. Now we're not going to see a captain's call from Malcolm Turnbull. He indicated as soon as he became Prime Minister that one of the biggest problems with our previous Prime Minister, of course there was a few, was his proclivity for captain's calls. So this Prime Minister is not going to make a captain's call on marriage equality, and he's not going to make a captain's call on other things as well. But what he is going to do is he's going to have leadership on this issue. And that's great, because we've been missing it. What has happened in every other state, every other country around the world that's achieved marriage equality is there's been leadership on the issue. And it's something that for 11 years, for as long as this campaign has been running, we've been lacking. We've been lacking leadership across the political spectrum, and now we have it. We have, obviously, the Greens as strong supporters of marriage equality for an incredibly long time. We've got Labor who've come on board, which is fantastic. And now we've got Liberal MPs who are starting to have the confidence in expressing their view on marriage equality, and this is really significant. Julie Bishop, she's the latest one. And with someone as prominent as Julie Bishop, she's going to bring more along with her. So when she came across and said that she supported marriage equality, we became 7 votes short in the House of Reps. Just 7 votes. It's one of the reasons why our opponents are talking about a plebiscite now, because it's a Hail Mary pass on their part. They're thinking that if they can delay, if they can obfuscate, if they can create some sort of imaginary groundswell of opposition to marriage equality, there might be a chance that they can defeat it. But we know support for marriage equality is gigantic in the community. As I said, it's down to 14%. And they just don't feel so passionate about this anymore. They want to move on too. So now that we have only 6 votes, we think we've got the Senate. We're very close, if not, we've got the Senate. We've only 7 votes away in the House of Reps. And as soon as North Sydney has its by-election, Joe Hockey jumps ship. I'll just leave that there. But the Liberal Party candidate for North Sydney is not only a strong supporter of marriage equality, but he's an openly gay man. That shows movement in the Liberal Party more than anything. But once he gets elected, of course, if he gets elected, and the likelihood is it's North Sydney, he will get elected. We're down to 6. So in a matter of months, we can actually have the House of Reps too. So between now and the election, and Malcolm Turnbull says that the election is going to be somewhere around September, October, we need to get active now more than ever before. We need to put pressure on MPs who have not declared or not decided their position on marriage equality, because there's 16 of them. And as I said, we'll only need 6 more. So we can totally do this. Once we achieve a majority in both houses, where's the argument for plebiscite? If we've got so many MPs and senators across the line on the issue of marriage equality, why